Okay, so now that you have the gametes figured out, the sex cells for one individual, let's bring in the second individual. So that one color that represents you, and then the other color represents your future mother or father of your children. So we have their genotype is big T, big D, little d for the two genes that we're looking at in the dihybrid cross. So their cells separate too. Remember, the T's separate from each other. So your significant other someday will only give one T or one D. So they will combine again, either the big T with the big D, or the big T with the little d, or the little t with the big D, or the little t with the little d. So their gametes will separate as well. So let's say that your big T and your little d was the sex cell that was released for this particular production of an offspring, and your significant other, mother or father of your child, will give this chromosome 1 with the little t, and let's chromosome 2 with the big D. So when those two gametes combine, notice there's one of chromosome 1 and one of chromosome 2, one T and one D from each parent. So when fertilization occurs, those T's go together and the D's go together. I'm going to put them so the dominant ones are first, just to make it easier to read, but it doesn't matter. So now you can see the baby has 2 of chromosome 1 with 2 T's, 2 alleles for that gene, and 2 D's which are on chromosome 2 for dimples, a big D and a little d. So that person is restored, and there's their genotype based on whatever combination was when those cells were made and then recombined in fertilization. So to show that on paper again is using Punnett square, and in Punnett square you would have 16 boxes for this because you have 2 genes instead of just 1, and each gene has 2 alleles, so there's 4 alleles total. So for this parent, so we put these back together again. Here's the 2 chromosome 1 from you, and then from your future parent of your child here, restored here. So we can write these out. So they're big T, big D, little d, crossed with big T, big D, little d. So as we did before, FOIL, the first, big T, big D, the outsides, big T, little d, the insides, little t, little d, or big D, sorry, and the last, little t, little d, are the gametes for this parent, this one, and then for this parent it would be the same because they're the same genotype. So we'll fast forward this. So those are the gametes. These are possible gametes. Now for Punnett square, you just make so you have 4 of the possibilities on the top and 4 on the side. So then you put the big T, big D, big T, little d, little t, little big D, little t, little d. And this parent is the same for gamete types, but they can have 16 different combinations. So put the 2 T's together and the D's together just to make it easier to read for each box as we pulled down from each, down and across for each box. Big T, little t, big D, big D, big T, little t, big D, little d, and so on. You can probably fast forward through this. mistake here. Otherwise, your ratios will be off. So line them up carefully. And so we want to first count how many of your possible offspring, these are all 16 possible combinations for these two genes that these two parents can produce. So we want to know how many of them will be able to roll their tongue and have no dimples. So those are both the dominant traits. So when you count those, they would have to have at least one big T to be able to roll their tongue. The other one could be a big T or a little t. And to have no dimples, they'd have to have at least one big D, and the other one could be a big D or a little d. So we're going to look for all the genotypes in this 16 squares that have at least one big T and one big D. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 of them can roll their tongue and have no dimples. The next possible count is roll tongue. So they have to have at least one big T and dimples. So to have dimples, they have to have 2 little d's because it's the recessive trait. So count every one that has at least one big T and 2 little d's. So there's 1 big T, 2 little d's, 2, 3, and that's it for being able to roll their tongue with dimples. The next possible combination is no roll tongue and no dimples. So no roll tongue, have to have 2 little t's, and no dimples, at least one big D, and the other one can be a big D or a little d. So we'll count how many of them have 2 little t's and at least one big D. So there's 1, 2, 3. And our last one, won't fit on the page here, so I'll come down to this line, is they can't roll their tongue and they have dimples, which is the recessive trait. So both recessive traits have to be 2 little t's and 2 little d's. And all we have left is this one here. So there is all the possible phenotypes, and here these numbers represent our phenotype ratio. 9 to 3 to 3 to 1 is the phenotype ratio. Typically in a dihybrid cross, we don't ask for the genotype ratio because it would be very complicated. So we mainly just ask for the phenotype ratio. What do they look like physically? So when you have a cross between 2 individuals and they're heterozygous for both genes, the phenotype ratio is a 9 to 3 to 3 to 1.